Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to my live Real Talk with your girl, Lady D. How are you guys doing? Hope y'all are doing great. I really don't have too much to talk about. I'm just here. Now, tonight, I will be on your girl Renee platform. Tonight, we're just going to talk about just a little few things, nothing, Real Housewives of Potomac. We're gonna go ahead and talk about that. That's a show that she and I watch, or however it flows. We just gonna go ahead and talk. But in the meanwhile, I just came on, just passing time. But I want to go ahead and talk a little bit about the book. Guys, I really enjoyed this book, man. You guys got to go ahead and get this book. This is Hebrews to Negro by Ronald Dalton Jr. And guys, if you don't have this a part of your collection, please go ahead and get this book. I promise you, you won't be disappointed. So what I'm gonna do is just talk about a little stuff that was in this book right here that I want to go ahead and share with you when it comes to group thinking. And that is really bad, especially when it's in the Black community, because this is what he said. We are brainwashed to group think. And he hit the nail on the head when he said that. Let me go ahead and read just a little bit. It says, we are brainwashed to groupthink. That is, think like a group scared of what others will think if you single handed oppose or have any to say that goes against what the group thinks or feel. And there's a lot of that is going on, especially on social media. If you don't jump with the rest of them, get on the bandwagon, it's like they're ready to go ahead and just single you out or bully you. Just last week or the week before, you know how it is. If you don't go along with the crowd, man, they will sit there and try to chew you up and spit you out. And that's the thing that we have to cut that off. That's just a what I call a demonic spirit. If we cannot think out of the box. And also it says the masses are the American people and primary target in America in the African Americans. We are slowly being eliminated and we don't even see it's coming. It's time to wake up Black America because it's before it's too late. Even though we have lost our heritage and past thanks to slavery, which was foretold by Bible prophecy, it is not too late to correct or slow down what is going to happen if we don't act now. And right there, he's letting us know, that it's not too late, which is never too late. But, we want to make sure that, you know, we get together, and stop backbiting each other. And even if we come together on one accord, and just keep it positive, stop trying to tear one another down because we need each other. And, believe it or not, in order for us to be a part of this movement, we have to come together on one accord. But we also cannot sit there and try to tear down one another just because you wants to go ahead and just go along with the massive, go along with people that does not have our agenda. Now it's okay, like if we come together and we figure out how we're going to be able to come out of this. But when you doing these people job, helping these people to tear down one another, that's where the buck stop. And that's where we have to stop. We have to stop it, guys. And that's what he's talking about, brainwashed to groupthink. And that is horrible, especially when you using it against each other. Because we already know that these people, they're not going to let go. They'll stay up all night and plot until they figure out how to tear one of us down or how to keep us divided. That's just like with Deion Sanders, how he's pretty much selling out. I mean, it hurts our heart. It hurts my heart just to see how we try to build together, but soon in a minute, when someone pay us or give we want to go ahead and sell out. We want to just leave our people and push them on the side. And how are we going to be able to be kingdom builders? How are we going to be able to build in our community when the minute when they see something that they want, they going to go ahead and they going to pay you off, and before you know it, look, we just left alone. So it's just like we never going to get ahead long as we have that type of thinking. But right now, I want to go ahead and read a little bit of some of the bullet points that he had made. And to me, I did a lot of research on it, and all this right here, the part that I am reading right here, pretty much, it is facts. So let me go ahead and see. Uh, this right here is, why do they tell us consumer spending is up? Then why are thousands of people in every city filing for unemployment benefits or welfare assistance every month? And right there, it doesn't make no sense. It does not make no sense how we at the unemployment office, getting assistance from the government, but yet they have money to go and police every other country. That does not make no sense. It's like, I don't know. It's just something to go ahead and think about. And right here it says, why is about 1/4 of American on food stamp assistance? Why? That really don't make no sense, especially when it's so much money that's going outside of the United States. How can Americans afford to grant illegal immigrants, that's what I'm saying, welfare assistance and financial aid once they make it in America, when most of the Americans aren't working or paying taxes? Come on, guys, help me to make this make sense. If we are not working, we don't have any jobs. We living from paycheck to paycheck. But yet we can get these illegal immigrants to come in and give them assistance, give them housing, finance their, whatever they need. It's like, I don't know. The system is messed up. How can anyone expect to have a job in America if we let every nationality of people, immigrants here? Somebody is not going to be able to find a job. And as you can see, the only ones that's going to be affected, those are the ones that are on those public assistance, middle classes. There's no such thing as a middle class anymore. Because every time when you get these illegal immigrants and getting them in and housing these and financing them and giving them jobs that we could be on those jobs, is all it's doing is just setting us back. And that's why I always tell you guys that the system is not messed up. The system is doing exactly what the system is designed to do. Why would anybody want to work breaking their back every day for $7.25 an hour when they can live easily working under the table or collecting government assistance? Like I say, guys, we got a long ways to go, and why do we keep establishing new trade agreement with other countries while deindustrializing America and creating massive layoff? Why do foreigners from the Middle East get food assistance and sell the same government brought food to us in stores for a huge profit? That's easy. We seen people from other countries and coming in our community, getting assistance and then selling it in their stores. Then we should, like I say, should report them, report them if they, that they are doing it. But you can report them and they still gonna go ahead and do it. Because, like I said, all this right here is a part of the system. Why do some Middle Eastern stores owners call blacks monkeys and slaves, but yet they take out money every day? And see, sometimes we point the finger at other people, but we are supporting this. So if we know someone is calling you monkeys and calling you slaves, but yet you giving your money to them, sooner or later you should be at fault as well, because I'm not going to spend in no one's establishment knowing that they calling me those names. If anything, I'll go ahead and I shut them down. And right here it says, why do party stores owners get paid by the state to have lottery machines in their stores, and why do they get a percentage of every ticket purchase? If a percentage of the lottery money goes to help pay for school and more poor people play the lottery than rich people, then how come black inner city schools are shutting down in their city where most of the lottery tickets players live in? Because see, stuff like this we don't shine a light on. We only shine a light on if it's our people is in business. Though we'll be quick to tear them down, we will be quick to expose them. But when it's others, we're not going to expose them. We're just going to let them continue doing what they're doing. Because if this right here is illegal, then why are we supporting this? Why are we not reporting it? To me, it doesn't make sense. And right here it says, how come no one in the inner city, urban areas ever win the mega million or jackpot? I've been was wondering that. You always hear someone that in some little small city you never even heard of have won the lottery. Why is the shrinking slave middle class carrying the weight of the federal deceit of their back, while the rich hide money, dodge taxes, and get riches? Well, see, like I say, they're not going to report the stuff that they doing. Only if we do it, trust me, you're not going to get away with it. Just like they did Kanye West, all of a sudden they came out saying that the man owes $50 million. That does not make no sense. And now you want to freeze his money? Come on, guys, help me to make this make sense. Why are so many people renting? Now that's the question. Why are so many people renting? And like I said, these questions right here, it's like a wake up question, and not to point the finger at someone else, but to point the finger at us. Because we got billions of dollars that we spend just in the black community to make somebody else more powerful, then we need to go ahead and examine ourselves, check ourselves. What are we doing with that money? Why are we so wasteful? Why we are not good stewards when it comes to stuff like this? Why are more people living in tent cities, underground turners in the woods, or in their cars? Wow, that's just to show you, that this right here is messed up. Why are nursing home groups, homes, transitional homes, and rooms and board homes the new home shelter for adult America that can make on Social Security alone? Why are they spraying chemtrails in the sky? I remember Prince. You remember Prince, the singer, when he talked about that, he used to talk about all the time, how those chemtrails are in the sky and you don't know what this stuff is. And they come around my subdivision spraying for mosquitoes and all this other stuff, all that fume. We don't know what's in that. Like I said, they say, these people, they do a lot of stuff. Why are they poisoning our food with GMO and privatizing all the water? Mm-mm-mm. I remember watching a guy came on CNN when he was saying, like, if people want to go ahead and get you, they can go into the water system and they can sit there and take you out right there. They did that same trick in the Bible. I remember when they was trying to go into a city that called themselves a fortified city, where they say no one can come into that city. So what they did, they sat there and they poisoned the water system, and that's how they was able to take them out. They gonna find those enemies. They gonna, them demons, they gonna find a way to go ahead and take you out. Trust me. And that's why we got to stop being so distracted by all this stuff that really doesn't even concern us, doesn't even matter. And that's why I tell you guys all the time, they will do anything to keep us distracted, to entertain us, because what they are doing is they plotting behind our back. But we so worrying about stuff that really does not even matter. But that's where we have to fault ourselves, that we got to wake up, stop allowing these people to continue to rock us to sleep. Why do we have fluoride in our water? That's a question. I remember the Honorable Louis Farrakhan, he was talking about the toothpaste and all this other stuff, how we use the toothpaste with the fluoride. That is not good. Why are so many jobs leaving our city? And that's why it's time, because is a time right now where it's time for us to own it. My motto is, if I don't own it, I don't want it. It's time for us to start owning our own businesses. Find what you like and start setting that building off of that, because long as you taking your paycheck that you don't work from 9 to 5, 7 days out of a week and pouring it back into the system, you're going to stay asking these questions why, until you wake up and realize, look, I'd rather sit there and take the money and invest in myself, in business that I know that can trickle down to my children and their children, than sitting there making these people more powerful than what they are. So it's easy for us to ask those questions, why? But then that's where it comes, will a man examine himself? Sometimes it's best for us to examine ourselves and see, why are we continue to allow these things to happen? Why are they shutting down schools in Detroit, Chicago, Philadelphia? Because they're not worried about educating our kids. You know why? They are not worried about educating our kids. Long as they can build these private prisons and build all this unnecessary stuff instead of building schools, hospitals, and they're not concerned about that. They're not concerned about educating your schools. That's why I tell you guys, public schools is the worst schools to put your kids in. If you can homeschool your kids, that is a plus, because we know what these people are teaching our kids in these public schools. Why are rich black investing in the prison industry? Now that's a question right there. Why are black people investing in the prison industry? I remember when they said that Michael Jordan, you remember when they said that he was investing in prison industry? Like I said, all just because they black, that does not mean that they for us. We got people, like I say, wolves in sheep clothing. Just because they our color, that does not mean they for us. Just like what Deion Sanders saying that he's, the Lord called him to go to Chicago, wherever he's at in Colorado. I don't think the Lord would tell you stuff like that. But we're going to say anything just to keep lining our pocket. But like I tell you guys, what the purpose of gaining the entire world and losing your soul? We got to stop selling out our own people. How we keep saying that we want to build back, our community, but yet soon in a minute, when these people dangle money into your face, it's like it's hypnotized you. I don't know, guys. Why are we giving slave movies every year from Hollywood? Because they want to keep reminding us that's who we are, slaves. I read that to you guys last night in the Bible, where it says, slaves, obey your master. They think that they think that our history is just with slaves. They don't want us to know how before slaves that we was kingdom builders. We was we had empires. We was kings and queens. But see, they're not going to make movies like that. And if they make movies about how we was kings and queens and Sheba, all they going to do is just whitewash all that. Look how they got Cleopatra and all people, kings that they don't whitewash them, got them looking like Europeans. Because they don't care about us. So if they don't care about us, then why should you sit there and care about them? But that's where now, because like I said, it's no excuses. We have too many people now that are billionaires right here in our own community, billionaires and millionaires. So it's no excuses to say what these people don't do for us. Of course, they're not going to sit there and shine the light on us. They're going to shine the light on themselves, because they expect us, if we want to shine the light, then shine, then spin in your own community. But see, we're not going to do it because we don't see a huge profit. But it got to start somewhere. It got to start somewhere. Why are people wiping out their 401ks, retirement funds, and cleaning out their savings to survive? All we have to do is sit there and like I said, do a self-examination. Why are we cleaning out our retirements? Why are we robbing Peter to pay Paul? And we can't keep pointing the finger. Sometimes we got to do examination on ourselves. Why are billionaires dumping stocks? Why are they getting rid of the unions? Why are more Americans working 20 to 30 years of their lives only to have nothing to show for, but still having to work well into their 60s and their 70s? That's horrible, guys. That's horrible. When you are in your 60s and your 70s and you still have to work a 9-to-5 job, that's horrible. That's not living at all. That's just existing. And I would never want to be just existing, wake up just to go to work and not have nothing to show for. That's not no good life. Why are both parents working multiple jobs? And back then, when Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, during that era, during that time, people wasn't doing that. The women was in the home, or if they wanted to go out, they went out for a job just to have a little extra, to get their nails done, or, but now, we have gotten so greedy where we got to keep up with the Joneses and inside living like the Waltons. That's why all that stuff happened, because we are not good stewards when it comes to our money. We got to have the latest fashion. We got to put all these labels on us. Why is everyone hoarding gold and silver? Now, that's a question. Why is everyone on psychiatric medication, and why is mental illness on the rise in African Americans? And that's another question. Why is a lot of mental illness? And the reason why there's a lot of mental illness, because all the stuff that our people went through. Depression said there and trickled down to this generation. And they're trying to say that whatever happened way back then does not affect this generation. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. The residue is still on this generation. It's still on us. And we see that the system is not doing nothing to help it. If anything, they're making it worse, building up these private prisons instead of putting these people into a hospital where they belong. You taking them straight to jail, straight to prison. That's not going to help them, because sooner or later They got to get out, and when you put them back on the street, they just gonna be worse than what they left. So it's not gonna make no sense at all. But that's why it's time for us to come together. It's time for us to sit there knowing that these people don't mean no good for us. And some of our people, our own people, is a bunch of sellouts as well. And this has been going on for centuries. It's just like with the children in Israel, our ancestors, how it was a 14-day journey when they was in the wilderness. But it took them 40 years to come out. We've been in this for 400 years, and now it's 400 plus, now 500. We should have been out of this because our time had expired when the 400-year mark, but we still going round circles. Like I said, some of us going to die right there in our wilderness. Some of us because we're not ready to come out. But this younger generation, they saying now enough is enough. This younger generation, they are not going to go ahead and take this. Why is everyone hoarding gold and silver? I just read that one. Why is the morning after pill now approved for over-the-counter purchase in 15-year-old? And what race will it target to depopulate? You know. Why did black own more business and stick together during segregation than now with integration into white America? And that's the question that I was asking. You know, back then we had black businesses, we had our restaurant, we had our stores. Now we own like 1% of business now. Why? Because when we integrate, then we forgot about how, to take care of each other. Because we were so busy trying to set on master table instead of sitting there building our own businesses. Guys, like I say, we got a long ways to go. Why have immigrants quickly started to own everything while we still don't own anything? Because we support these people. We pouring into their community. If you wouldn't support these people, I trust you. Trust me. No way that these people can be as powerful as they are today. Why do certain immigrants race see to it that black don't advance in America? Why is the value of the dollar dropping and the price of everything we buy slowly going up? That's a lot of stuff to think about. Why are we other countries dropping the dollar and using other currency valuable for trading? Why is there more crime in the urban areas of the United States? Why are government agents buying millions of ammunition every month? I went ahead and I Googled. I wanted to know why. Why is the IRS buying millions of dollars worth of ammunition and guns? The IRS, what they going to do with that? Where is they going to put all those ammunition and guns? Who they gonna give it to? That's a lot of questions. That's why I tell you guys, we got to stay watchful. We got to wake up, man. These people working overtime on us. Why is the government hurling and limiting ammunition and trying to take away our rights to bear arms? Now, the thing about it is that they trying to take away our rights to bear arms, but yet they gathering all the ammunition and all the guns. Google it, guys. I'm telling you, I Google all this stuff right here. This stuff right here is facts. Why do they want our guns? Why is this peaceful protesting not effective anymore? That's another question. Why is, it's not effective anymore? Because, to me, some things that was working back then is not for us today. Now we are more educated now. The best thing to do if these people is not doing what they're supposed to do, don't vote them, vote them out. But it's time for us to start coming together and seeing how we can benefit and help each other. Because if not, we're going to continue with this, why that. And these people, they treat us like children, like we are kids, like we are helpless. Because nowhere in the world that we should be still asking these same questions. Why this? Why that? Why are hospitals operating on a treat 'em and street 'em mentality? These people is not so far gone now. Everything is about almighty dollars now. Everything is about almighty dollars. Why are young people dying of heart attacks, and why does it seem that cancer is popping up in everyone nowadays? Hmm. And we was talking about that when it was the other day. It's time for us to start growing our own food. And I'm not gonna tell you no lie, guys. January, which we always make that New Year resolution that we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. But I'm gonna make it my point to sit there and try to eat healthy, and try to move around more. Because everything, is like we got to have something instant, and it's time for us to start growing our own vegetables, and lead all that fast food, and stay out of those restaurants, because you don't know what these people got in all that stuff, in all that food, you know. And this one right here, which I had read this last time. Why is it's cheaper to buy Coca-Cola than bottle of water in some places in America and countries like Africa? And that's a thing. Now you got to put all that ingredients in Coca-Cola and water. All you have to do pretty much is clean the water out, but the water is is cheaper. No, yeah, the water is more expensive than the Coca-Cola. Look like the Coca-Cola, those sodas should be more expensive than the water. So right there, guys, wake up. It's time for us to wake up. Why does the media show us stuff that has no relevance, and it pertains to the betterment of the American people? Why we are preoccupied with keeping up with the Kardashians, Real Housewives of Atlanta, or The Bachelor, our kids' future is dying, and the population of America, African America, is declining. Latinas have now passed African Americans in the overall USA census. But this right here, this when it comes to these reality shows, which I tell you guys over and over, and I ain't gonna tell you no lie, I'm just as guilty. Now, I don't sit there and watch all the reality shows. I used to watch Housewives of Atlanta, but I don't watch that show that much no more. And the reason why, because all the original people are off the shows now. I'm going to be tonight on your girl Renee channel, and we're going to talk about Housewives of Potomac. Now, most of those reality shows is just a distraction. We think that these people are living that life, about that life. These people are not living or about that life. And even if they are, they're not going to show that side of, especially when it comes to our people. All they're going to show is that we break up, we break up our homes is broken, showing that, we act like a bunch of idiots. That's the way that they love to show us. And if you is not acting out for these people, acting a fool, these people gonna consider you as boring, just like they did with Cynthia Bailey. They didn't want to watch Cynthia Bailey just because she was coming on that classic. She had to pretty much act a fool. I guess she saw how she was portrayed, when they did the reruns, and she saw how she was look when Candy had her pinned to the wall. She wanted out after that, because she saw how she was sitting there making herself look like a fool. And that's how they like to portray us. They want us to sit there and act ignorant. They don't want us to do nothing that's going to educate our people. because they figure that all we are just to entertain. If you're not having a basketball or a football in your hands, these people don't have nothing to do with you. Are you dancing or singing? These people have nothing to do with unless you entertaining these people. And that's why I tell you guys over and over, it's easy for us to point the finger, but sometimes we have to examine ourselves. We have to check ourselves because no one cannot make you do nothing that you don't want to do. And if they making you do it, you see what I'm saying? That means that you have no power and no control over yourself. Why is there so much surveillance going on nowadays with facial recognition, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, email tracking, and money tracking? Because these people trying to track us. These people, all this social media outlets. So we already know Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. We already know all this stuff was going to happen. We already knew that these people had a motive why all this stuff, that it was to track us, to make sure that they get our identity so they can use it against us. We already know. It was some movie, I think it was 2012. I think that's what the name of that movie was called, where when they went to one of this guy, he was in the trailer, and they said, we thinking that this is a game, but this really not a game you are playing. These people, what they are doing is they are getting your information. They are tracking you down. It's really not a game. We thinking that, all this stuff that we see that our kids spend hours and hours on, and how we on the internet hours and hours playing these games and putting all our information in. That's the way that these people doing to track you down. Trust me, everything serves a purpose. Surprising, there are companies with a main objective to think about what we live or need to feed us, advertising to keep us spending money or getting us farther into debt. Even though technology has made our lives easier, it has also made our lives more busier. And countries that is less social, too busy to think, too busy to enjoy the simple things in life, and too busy to really see what is going on behind the scene. We have become a country where everyone is living to work, working to survive, and not doing any living. I don't know about you, but I'm tired of surviving. And we all should be tired of surviving. I'm ready to live. Because this ain't what you call living. Mom and dad are now both working, the kids are working. Many Americans are unable to survive without a two-income household. Grandparents, or in some cases, great grandparents, are now working at your local stores. People are working harder and harder for the money, but not without a price to pay in the end. And this is what I was telling you guys, the love of money is the root of all evil. And sometimes we got to leave these people stuff where it's at, because we cannot build a solid foundation off of material possession. It's like building a house on sinking sand. People are working harder and harder for their money, but not without a price to pay at the end. There are a lot of working households that cannot even afford to take a week vacation with the kids because of the expenses of paying for plane tickets, baggage fees, car rental, hotels, parking, food, tolls, boots, money, gas, and other incidental activities. What's the point of taking a vacation if you have to stress yourself out doing extra shifts before or after you get back from your vacation? What good is a vacation if you have to constantly check your online banking to make sure that there is money? Surprising that could jeopardize your trip. Going on vacation is not fully rewarded and beneficial if you have to worry about how hard you have to work upon returning to make up for the money that was lost. With all this working, how are we enjoying life? You're not. You existing. Just like he said, this ain't no living. Even more nowadays, who is watching, raising, or teaching our kids? No one. The computers, the internet, other people, outside influence. And we're wondering why some of our kids are doing what they're doing now. And at one time, you never heard of our people going out there and taking out other people's lives. Now, what you're hearing now, like they say, an idle mind is the devil's workshop. In the past, children was watching by generation of family members, or sometimes by their neighbors. Family knew all the other families living in the communities. Not no more. Shoot, everybody's so busy out there working, doing segregation, and the Jim Crow law. Black communities was a tight knit of people helping one another. Now we driving up, and most resident streets in America, we see that everyone is either inside the house or going to work. We see no parents outside playing with their kids in the yard, because the only thing we see adults outside is when they are cutting the grass or doing yard work. Most black fancy cars are being drove to work and parked in the parking lot for 8 to 12 hours of the day. And you see, like the late Reverend Martin Luther King said, when we were segregating, trying to get everybody, to live together in harmony, all this stuff right here, it made us lose who we are, lose our identity. And he even talked about that. He said how, he think that he led his people into a burning house. Most people, it's a shame. We find that our whole week has been taken up with busy labor work and brainwashing TV shows, eating, paying bills, and sleep. America has become a place where it's not uncommon to see people working on Saturdays and Sundays. Weekends were supposed to be the time for unwinding and also serving God, whether it is on Sundays or Saturdays. How are we serving or pleasing God if we are working our lives away to pay bills or pay for material things? We're not. And the thing about it is that we trying to act exactly like Babylon, worrying about these people's stuff and wondering how we going to overcome, how we going to come out of this. We're not. Long as we not doing what we supposed to do, put down these people idols, put down these people's stuff, not knowing, just like I told you guys on plenty of my videos, that the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. It's all belongs to us anyway. So why is we trying to rob Peter to pay Paul to get stuff that is already ours? Come on, guys, help me to make this make sense. And then he gave a scripture. Matthew 6:24 says, no man can serve two masters, for either he will hate one and love the others, or else he will hold to one despite the other. You cannot serve God and mammon, which means you cannot serve God and money. And we talked about that. Money is the root of all evil. Money, if it's not handled the right way, it can become your God. Because money is the only thing that can make you lose your mind. Money is the only thing that can make you sell your own soul, throw your own mother under the bus, having you out there acting a plumb fool if it's not used right, if you're not a good steward. We have become disconnected with ourselves and God. Who is our God now? Who is our God now? That's a question. Who is our God now? Because we have sold our soul for almighty dollars and wondering why we are in the state that we are in now. And that's what the enemy wants us to do. He wants to keep us in bondage, because he knows if he keep us in bondage, then he know that he can continue being as powerful as he is today. So when you see these big corporations, these big companies prospering and you're not prospering, it's because of you. Leave these people's stuff alone, because what's the purpose of having the whole world and losing your soul? Those stuff that you gather and got hundreds of pairs of shoes and all this stuff rot. Or someone will come around and steal it. Or if something happened to you, God forbid, you cannot take that with you. But if you be a good steward over what the Most High God has blessed you, then that can trickle down to your children, to generations to come. But it's so sad when we want to live like the Joneses, but inside living like the Waltons. Leave these people's stuff where it's at. We have become disconnected with ourselves and God. Who is God now? Do we give praises to things we can buy, or do we give praises to TV stars, become pregnant, or becoming out and admitting that they are gay? We barely have time to exercise, enjoy our house or cars, eat a good breakfast in the morning, have dinner with a family, or even talk to our parents, spouses, and friends. And you see, to do things like this, the first thing we want to say is that, oh, they just too old fashioned. Oh, we too tired. Back then, you call that old fashioned, call that slow, but back then we did all that. But it's like now we have left our first love. Hi, Birdie. Her scriptures say we don't have enough of this. John 12:32. If I be lifted up from the earth, will draw all men unto me. Churches on every corner, neighborhoods out of order. Correct. And you wondering why we are in the condition that we are in. So we got churches on every corner, and we still got people in the same condition that they are in today. Then something is not right. That's just to show you that the church, you cannot box the anointing of God. God is nowhere in those buildings, because no way in the world that you should have churches on every corner when the Most High God say He's coming for one church. Without a spot or a room, it's one church. So He's coming for one church. Then why we need every church on every corner? Because we got tickled ears. When we don't like what one person say, we go and start something else or go jump hop. That's us. That's why I say we cannot come together. Don't you know, if we come together, we can be a force to be reckoned with? If we come together, we can put Satan on his knees. We can tear down Satan's kingdom. But we so confused. That right there is called confusion. That right there is messed up. When you have to have churches on every corner and barely have one or two people in there, that's just to show you that the church is sick. We got a lot of things. We got just so much, guys. It may be surprising to some, but what we are going through, what America is going through, has been carefully planned years ago and precisely calculated to happen this way. So this is no surprise. These people already had plotted this out. You are just projects. That's all it is. Why you think they had our people in projects? They experimenting on you. This is nothing new. These people design everything to work out exactly the way it is, because they know us better than we know ourselves. They know exactly what makes us move, what makes us think, because these people study us. These people have been studying us for centuries. Since the beginning, they have been studying us. By whom you might say some call them the hidden masters or the elite of the world. And that's all it is. We got wickedness in high places. We got people that's plotting and working overtime on us. Guys, it's time for us to wake up. And the reason why we can't come out of it, because we don't stick together. Just like I said, when it comes to Kyrie Irving and Kanye West. Don't you know, if his team and his people would have rallied around him, no way in the world these people would have done what they did. But we don't stick together, and that's our downfall. And that's how they able to work overtime on us, because we don't stick together. Others believe there are very rich family bloodlines that control the world, and from the family's secret society are born. So who then do we trust? The Bible says, trust no man but to love him. Trust no man. No man. We can't even trust our own people, because all the wickedness in high places, all they have to do is just offer them a bag. And once you offer the bag to them, they gone. They say, see ya. The dollar bill says, in God we trust. That's the God right there, the Antichrist. If you want to know who is the Antichrist, if you want to know what it is, 666, it's the love of money, money, money. But God is a title and can mean anything nowadays. So has man been brainwashed, trusting the elite of the world, the bankers, mega companies, the government, or does man still trust God? To better understand this question, you need to take the time to learn how all this started, even before we was born, and how it's continued to tell this day, full steam ahead, just as planned. Then we have to ask questions about these things and somehow figure out how we can do something about it or change it. Remember, the 7 deadly enemies of man are pride, evil, greed, hatred, selfishness, laziness, and injustice. If I had to add another one to fit the scheme of things as how we end up in the situation, it would be deceit. And we know a lot of it is deceit. We will put our foot on our brother's neck in a minute, like crabs in a bucket, not knowing when I'm blessed, you are blessed. So why are we trying to tear down each other? If you want to control a people, you simply control the money supply, its laws, its religion, energy, resources, food, water, and control the importance that they receive using the mass media. Deceit is always the focus of the agenda. Any information or knowledge that jeopardizes the plan of things is meant to be kept hidden from the massive. And if someone tried to expose the information, they are usually quickly dealt with. And the thing about it is, when you sitting there, let me read it again. Any information or knowledge that's jeopardized the plan of things. If you come in against the plans, their agenda, like he said right here, you are quickly dealt with. And the thing about it is, they're going to use us to tear down our own people. They don't have to come out and do it themselves back then, where they had like the KKKs and the Night Riders to put us in place. They don't have to do that anymore. We already saw that right now, how it's playing out with Kyrie Irving and Kanye West. All we need to do is use each other to tear down one another. Look how we had them talking about calling our own people idiots. And soon when they saw themselves, they've been called out. Now they're trying to backtrack. But all the while you sitting there, you helping these people to push their agenda, tearing down your brother. So a lot of this stuff right here, we can't keep pointing the finger. We can't keep saying it's them when it's us. If you leave these people stuff where it's at, I promise you, we're going to be able to cross over, because it's have expired. We said, you read the book of Deuteronomy or Numbers, it would tell you that we supposed to have been in this for 400 years. 400 years have expired. We almost in this 500 years. It's overtime. We should have been out. But we keep going round in circles over and over and over. And we're not going to come out until we wake up. And some of us are going to die right here in our wilderness because we don't want to leave these people's stuff alone. Deceit is always the focus of the agenda. Any information or knowledge that jeopardizes the plan of things is meant to be kept hidden from the massive. And if someone tries to expose the information, they are usually quick dealt with. This is how the world operates today. We are brainwashed to groupthink, and it's think like a group scared of what others will think if you single-handedly expose or have any to say that goes against what the group thinks or feel. So you goes against it. You goes against the machine. You're going to be quickly dealt with. We supposed to group think. We supposed to group think. That's the way that it was designed. When they put out an agenda, say, this is how we supposed to move, this is how we supposed to talk, then you're supposed to fall in line. And that's why we in the predicament that we are in now. But they will pay for it. And I'm talking about our own people for selling us out, bringing us into a house of fire. Just like they say Martin Luther King has said that he think that he drove our people into a burning house. And these people, these politicians and these leaders, these preachers, these pastors, they going to be accountable for this. Because he said, whatever you have done to the least of my children, you have done it to me. It would be best for you to take a millstone and wrap it around. You know the rest. Because we thinking that these people got our best interests. No, these people have sold out. They're not worrying about us. Long as their family, their household is intact, that's good enough for them. We are brainwashed to groupthink. That is something like a group scared of what others would think if you single-handedly oppose or have any to say that goes against what the group thinks or feel. The massive are the American people and the primary target in America in African Americans. See, we target. We are slowly being eliminated and we don't even see it's coming. It's time to wake up, Black America, because before it's too late. Even though we have lost our heritage and past thanks for slavery, which was foretold by the Bible prophecy, it is not too late to correct or slow down what is going to happen if we don't act now. Now, why are we coming down on Ronald Dalton Jr.? The devil is not going to tell you this. The devil is going to tell you to stay in your mess. He's not going to tell you to come out of it. See, they don't want us to inform and educate our people. They want to keep us, like I said, like children. That's why you have to know how to rightfully divide the word of truth. Because in their mind, and they're not coming out to say it, we are still slaves to them. That's why they can continue sitting there pushing their agenda. Slaves, obey your master. Anybody could come in this country and prosper except us. Have you ever asked that question, why everybody could come in this country, as they call the America dream, and prosper except us? Because they look at us as 1/5 of a human being still until this day. And we are now in the 20th century, 2023. Come on, guys, wake up. And that's why I tell you guys, you always want to come against me. We have to know how to rightfully divide the word of God. I'm not telling you all to go ahead and throw away your Bibles. I'm just telling you how to read it, how to dissect it, because They have tampered with everything. Everything that they touch, hell follows. That's why you have to know how to rightfully divide the word of truth. Just like now, you have to play their game. You have to know how to play their game. But long as we selling out each other, we gonna still stuck. But it's time for us to come out. Let me go into chapter 2, how it all started. This right here is chapter 2, how it all started. Oh. It says, this is Donna, this what I'm reading, if you guys just coming on, Hebrew to Negroes by Ronald Dalton Jr. And what I'm doing, guys, I'm just going ahead. Like I say, I'm being fair, standing on my truth, and just combing through some of the stuff that he's saying. Hi, Goddess. Peace, Goddess. How are you doing, guys? Welcome to my life. This right here is chapter 2, how it's all started. As a youngster, I was raised in a typical African American Christian household. Being the eldest of 7 children in a single income household wasn't easy. My parents was religious people, just as we were taught to believe in the Easter Bunny, the Tooth Fairy, and Santa Claus. We were also raised to believe in the white, brown hair, blue-eyed Jesus Christ. We all. It took a long time for us to tell our parents to take that hippie off of our walls, because that's all it was. And if you really research who was that picture, it was Cesar Dubois. Google him. I might be pronouncing his name wrong, but you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. Google it. And all this right here, everything was pagan and all about white supremacists. That's all that was. Because what they have done was they took the Bible and they put themselves in it when it was just a shadow. It was just a prophecy, because we are living the word out right now. But they ran with it and they set themselves on the throne. They made themselves gods. That's why they got these Easter bunnies, these tooth fairies. All this stuff is pagan. All that stuff is pagan. But we don't see nobody going around and trying to tear down all these images of this white Jesus. We don't see nobody tearing down nothing like that. That's the first thing that you should have went ahead and tore down. Because we know that right there does not fit the image what's in the Bible. So if God is not a man that he should lie, and the word of God is truth, then why are we believing this whitewash lie? Why are we believing that Jesus Christ was a white man? Google Jesus Christ. You Google Jesus Christ right now. I promise you it's going to be white with blue eyes. But that does not fit what Revelation say. Revelation said that, say his hair was white like wool. His feet was like bronze. His eyes was like fire. I mean, he had dominated eyes. We have dominated eyes. That does not fit the character that they had described to us, had us bowing to it. And that's why we are still in the predicament that we are in right now, because they think that we are children, that we supposed to obey our master. Yes, they have given us a little few crumbs here and there just to shut us up, put all this entertainment stuff to keep us all focused. They know exactly what to keep us all focused. They know how to keep us in place. They know exactly, while they continue working overtime on us. We were taught in Sunday school that Adam, Eve, Noah, Moses, Abraham, Isaac, the angels, Jesus, the 12 disciples, and the children of Israel were white, even though the Bible didn't say anything about them being white. And I already had broke this down to you guys, those that follow my channel. Anything that was white that was in the Bible was considered as leprosy. Anything that was considered in the Bible back then was considered as leprosy. That's why I told you guys, is you need to start researching. Stop taking these people at their word. As with any children that grows up in the black churches, we spend a lot of our youth years in the church. Bible study on Wednesdays, youth nights on Fridays, Saturdays, occasion revivals, state meetings, concerts, conventions, Saturday morning service, afternoons, and even service were the norm. My father family was from the South, and my mother family was from the North. My last name was courtesy of a past German European who most likely owned slaves on the plantation in North Carolina. South Carolina and Virginia, I knew this to be so because my grandparents was the youngest of 10 kids, but never got to see his grandfather because he was a slave in Virginia. Only his eldest brother could recall memories of my great great grandfather. Both of my parents experienced different things growing up on different sides of the Mason-Dixon line. In the South, there were the Jim Crow laws, segregation, and so on. In the North, mainly in Harlem, New York, you had famous black heroes such as Malcolm X, Huey Newton, Angela Davis, and Marcus Garvey preaching black pride. We were raised to believe because of Martin Luther King Jr., we as African Americans has the same right and opportunities that white had as it pertained to jobs or any future hope dreams. After all, we were free black living the so-called American dreams, family with a working father, a house, a car, a dog. We were taught about slavery, Abraham Lincoln, Martin Luther King, Frederick Douglass, Sojourner Truth, and Rosa Parks. We was taught to become the soul food, fried chicken, chitlins, green macaroni, cheese, and potato salad was black food, even though Americans didn't eat that food in Africa. We were taught that our homeland was African, even though we never knew what Africa, our home was. We were taught that a man's job was to work and provide for the family. We were also shown that a woman's place was at home, taking care of the kids and being a homemaker. We were taught that homosexuality was a sin and that marriage was sacred, kept for the union of a man with a woman. That was the nature order of things that the Bible taught us. I saw that my parents treated their parents with the utmost respect and never spoken out of line against them. Everyone had their place in heredity in the family. Children were supposed to respect their parents and not report their parents to child protection service because of a good old fashioned spanking. The way it would be as we continue going to Bible classes, churches, we were also taught that as blacks, we was considered Gentiles because we were not Jewish, and Jesus came to die for the sins of the world so that we Gentiles may also be saved. Don't have me to go there. No one ever explained why the word Gentile was first associated in the Bible, Genesis 10 and 5, with the European nation, but then later we changed to represent anyone that was not a European Jew. It doesn't make sense. In Bible classes, the teachers always tend to skip over things in the Bible, such as how white skin was always associated with a curse in the leprosy verses of the Bible, even though God chosen people, the Jews, were taught to be white. We also skip over who was the Nephilims, where we Melchizedek was in the Bible and what the father name in the Old Testament, New Testament. Bible classes teachers who also have something to say about Genesis 1:26 when it says, and God said, let us make man in our image after our likeness. The word us and ours meant more than one person. I thought I was the only one that had questioned about the verses. I also didn't understand why there was two verses in which God created man in his image and in our image. Why did it change our to his? Then it talked about God creating man, woman twice in the Bible of Genesis, which the second story created man out of his own image and not our image. It's clearly stated in Genesis 1:27. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created him, male and female, he created them. Afterwards, He told them to be fruitful, multiply, and replenish the earth. But wait, in Genesis 2 and 5, it says that despite there being plants and herbs, there was no rain because there was no man to till the ground. But prior to the reader have already read that male and females was created and told to multiply. Then in Genesis 2 and 7, it says, and the Lord God formed man out of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. Woman was the creator again in Genesis 2 and 18, where it says, and the Lord God said, it is not good that the man should be alone. I will make him a helpmeet for him. I also couldn't understand why my Bible classes teachers tell men where in the Bible garden was, despite the Bible giving us 4 rivers called came few out of it. It says in the Bible that one of the 4 branches river from the river of the Eden was in the river Gihon. It says in Genesis 2, it says that the river encompassed the whole land of Ethiopia. However, the only river that encompassed all the land of Ethiopian Kush is the river Nile. But how can there be other branches rivers when the Nile River is one of the only river in the world that flows from south to north? The Nile River was essentially, hold on one second, guys. Hey, sorry about that, guys. But let me go ahead and read a little more of this. It said, even either the Garden Eden is Africa or the Middle East, the Mesopotamia. Now, I talked about this right here. See, our people, especially these preachers, they're not gonna question stuff like this. But this generation, this new generation right here, they gonna question stuff like this because you never heard this type of teaching in these churches. Again, the pastors is not going to teach that because these pastors right here today, they have sold out themselves. They really working for the government. So if they're working for the government, no way in the world that they going to teach this, because now that they are in cahoots with the government when it comes to these bylaws and all this other stuff, these people going to only teach what the government tells them to teach. So you're not going to expect stuff like this. But we talked about this. I talked about this on my channel when I talked about the Middle East. Back then, there was no such thing as the Middle East. All that was a part of Africa. They divided the Middle East and Africa so they can bring into this whitewash lie. But that man-made canal was called the Suez Canal, which they had built in order to separate Africa and the Middle East. So they could sit there and bring forth this whitewash lie. That's why I told you guys, you have to research. You got to research. You cannot just take these people for their word. And it's out there. All you have to do is just keep searching, just like with the word. We wasn't eating meat. We was eating watered down sermons. I mean, that's all it was, just watered down sermons. But this generation right now, they're not going to settle for anything. They're not. This is the Joshua generation. Right here, it says that the Bible is not supposed to have contradictions. The Bible class teacher would also skip around the questions of why God need our man-made money for tithes. And that's what we know they love to whip us with. Will a man rob God? How will we rob them in tithes and offering? The church loved to read that scripture. That's one of their favorite scriptures, which they have taken that out of context. They not talking about us. They talking about the priests. When Abraham was tied to Melchizedek, that's what that scripture means. He was tied in a tent to Melchizedek. And when he said, will a man rob God, about the priests, because back then, only ones that was living good, it was the priests and their children. They were sitting there throwing the people in and everything, and we still got that's going on today. That's why I tell you guys, nothing is new under the sun. We are living it out as you speak. The Bible is a prophecy of what's to come. It's just that they ran with it. And I'm going to continue saying that over and over and over until someone understands exactly what I am saying. The teachers also tended to ignore the short passage about Enoch walking with God for 300 years, or why the Canaanites and not Ham was despised by God. That's another question. I used to always ask that question. If Enoch had walked with the Most High God for 300 years, walked with the Lord. They didn't say God was a spirit. They say he walked with God for 300 years. Why they didn't put that in the Bible? Why they didn't put gave him a chapter? You don't see in the Bible there's a chapter called Enoch. Why? He walked with God. He had a conversation with God. But why they didn't put that in the King James Bible? Looked like he could have given us more information than what the rest of them did, because he actually had contact with the God. He actually spoke with God. Ham was despised by God. And they say Ham was despised by God. Was that true? When God said everything that he made was good, now all of a sudden they say Ham was despised by God, that God cursed him. And we are the part of that curse. And we still walking around trying to attach all those curses on us when the Bible has not really been fulfilled. Bible classes never explain why the tribe of Dan is not included in the 144,000 in the book of Revelation 7, but it's included in Genesis 30 and number 1. I read the Bible completely and had a lot of questions that were never fully answered. Life moved on completely and had a lot of questions that were never fully answered. Life moved on, and I never questioned most of the things I was taught by my parents, school teachers, Sunday school teachers, a pastor. Years went by, and I found myself blind to the way the world really was. He was blind because he never questioned. And that's what they want us to do right now. They don't want us to question. They want us to stay blind. They want us to continue staying ignorant. So you upset with him, wants to cancel Ronald Dalton just because he got questions, things that you see, that he see that does not really make sense. Come on, guys, help me to make this make sense. Help me to make this make sense. So you upset with him just because he's trying to find a place, of where he belongs, because all the stuff that he see does not make no sense, even though his parents was pastors, religion people, Sunday school, revivals he went to, and all that stuff does not line up. It does not make no sense. That's why we cannot just quick to sit there and just put our foot on someone's neck just because they don't like it. The reason why they don't like it, because they don't want you to know the truth. They want to keep you at their feet so they can throw you a few crumbs here and there. But their word is not Bible. Their word is only Bible when you don't take the time to go out there and research. Like they say, our people are destroyed because of lack of knowledge. That's exactly the truth. We too lazy. We don't want to research. We want to take their word as Bible. But when the black man sat there, and I'm not trying to be racist, but I am talking to my people. But when we say something, you wants to question it. And when it don't line up with the other genders, then you want to come back and you wants to put your foot on your brother's neck. And before you know it, it's canceled. Because we operate out of fear. We only hear what they say. Like I say, their word is Bible. But it's time for us to come out. It's time for us to wake up. It's time to come out. And he talked about when he was an undergrad, how he struggled, how he went through so much trying to get his education. And he went and he got it. He got his education. And they went all around trying to cancel him. Why no one like these big social media platforms, these networks? Why they never put him on his on why they didn't put Ronald Dalton on their platform? Why no networks ever called him to explain so he can tell them what's going on? They're not going to, because they don't want to hear the truth. They don't want him to wake up the massive. And that's just like with Kanye West. They quick to call him crazy. And you going along calling him crazy. This man telling you that he in a contract where these people taking his money want to make decisions without him. And just because now he's wilding out because nobody is listening to him. So he's saying some crazy stuff off the wall in order to get your attention. Now, if someone and you doing business with, they making decisions without you, you're not going to take it well as well. You're not going to sit there and just take it well. So what makes you think that he's going to sit there and take it well? He felt like he's getting the end of the stick. These people making decisions without him. And we know it's true. He's not lying. How the heck you going to sit there and you going to cancel this guy, but yet you want to continue selling his products? So what he did, he said, okay, you want to sell the products, but you don't want me a part of it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to drop it way down to $20 where everybody can afford. To me, that's not crazy. I'd rather get something out of it to keep you from getting anything out of it. So if Adidas would put his product on the market, you think you're going to go and buy something that's $1,000 when you can go to some outlet and get it for $20? To me, that's called brilliant thinking. Come on, guys, wake up. Guys, we do too much. Stop being so quick to cast our brother down, our people down, calling them crazy, calling him mental, and calling them all this other stuff. How the heck you going to sit there and take millions of dollars and freeze it? And it took his wife to sit there and put child support on him in order for them to sit there and release his money so he can sit there and support his children. We got to stop it. And see, people don't want to hear stuff like this. But the Most High God say, tell it to them anyway, because this is a lost generation. This is a lost generation. We have to go and follow the bandwagon, jump on the bandwagon, because we can't think for ourselves. They have to think for us. And anytime when someone have to think for you, that means that they have control of your mind. The master tell you to go this way, you go this way. And when you kick against a prick, then you cancel. And the thing about it is, since we on all in the bandwagon with them, we got to go along with them. Devil, you is a liar. You is a liar. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. And that's what Donna is calling, Ronald Dalton is calling group thinking. That's what you call group thinking. When we got to go along with the massa, we got to go along with everybody else. And soon in a minute, we kick against the prick. We cancel. We call crazy. Nobody wants to hear you. That's just to show you we live in a sick generation, guys. A very sick generation. I'm gonna go ahead and read this part right here, and after that, I'm gonna read this and finish out chapter 2. But I'm gonna go ahead and skip the part where he was an undergrad, because he did get he did graduate. Okay, this right here is called The Awaken. It says, while working at Sinai Grace Hospital, I started to see a lot of things that were disheartening and a lot of things that were needed in the Black community. So while he was working at the hospital, when he was even in church, he started seeing things that was not normal for his people, that was not right. And not many people have that type of gift, because see, we only see the surface part of things. Long as they sitting there throwing us a little crumbs here and there, we good. But see, he starts seeing beyond that, all the material stuff, and he starts seeing how his people could have been better than what they are, knowing that it's more to what it looked like. Right here it says, while working at Sinai Grace Hospital, I started to see a lot of things that were disheartened and a lot of things that were needed in the Black community. Sinai Grace Hospital at the time had the most African PAs than any other hospital in Michigan. At that time, I was able to meet and befriend another African American physician assistant named D'Angelo Webster. He was different in that he was a thinker. He was different in that he was a thinker just like me. He was tired of all the political of the hospital, the racism, the disloyalty, the lack of respect, and also for constantly being picked on simply for being a Black male PA. He talked he talked not just about current things, but things in the past. His main things was explaining why. He saw things in a different perspective and made me think, not just on the medical aspect, but also other topics dealing with the economic, uh, politics, religions, ancient history, Black issues, white issues, and so on. Around that time, there was a DVD circulating underground in the Black community called It's a Damn Shame, that talked about the influence of the media in our lives with a sublimated message, the economic, religion, the government, psychological, sociological, and knowledge that was left out of our history books. After that point, my mind was awakened. I started seeing everything in a different way. I was no longer asleep and a matrix like everyone around me. I finally took the leap. Looking back, I remember me of the matrix moved and the conversation had with Neo. Then it's I'm not going to read that part. And I took he said right here, I took the red pill and my heart started yearning for the truth and no longer wanted to be fed lies that Satan was spreading throughout the world. And that's all that is, a bunch of lies, whitewash lies, but their kingdom is falling, I promise you. I started on a journey to learn as much as I could to retain my brain from all the brainwashing that occur only my lifetime over my lifetime and to learn knowledge that was not taught to me growing up. The Bible says, my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. After much research, I found out that by suppressing knowledge, one could suppress a people, nation, and even the world. I pray to God that He would give me knowledge and help me decipher the lies from the truth. He did just that in His own mysterious ways. This is what sparked me to write some of the stuff I have learned. To write all of it would take forever, and sometimes people are not ready for whole truth despite what they say. Amen. And as most people know, the world and even Satan does not like mankind to know the truth. This is why people mysteriously die for revealing too much truth to the massive. That's they will destroy you because these people don't want you to learn the truth. These people want to keep you stuck. I don't know where my glasses at. I was looking for my eyeglasses. Hold on one second. Let me see if I can find my eyeglasses. Sorry about that. I can't find my eyeglasses. I was looking for my eyeglasses. Oh, okay. Right here it said, but that's what I'm saying. You know, when you start digging for the truth and start waking your people up, you mysteriously disappear, or they will sit there and try to do something to ruin your, to ruin you, to take you out. As most people knows, the world and even Satan does not like mankind to know the truth. This is why people mysteriously die for revealing too much truth to the massive. We see it throughout history and the media. When blacks was enslaved in America, the white man job was to erase our history, heritage, and culture so that we wouldn't know who we really are. They did this well cause we as African Americans have lost the history of who we were or where exactly we come from down the tribe. We are named after two nations, continents. We have black skin but are called African Americans or Negroes. We are considered African in South Africa and other African countries, even though a majority of us are the same color, if not darker than the same African themselves. But there were many nations back in time that had black skin: the Persians, the Elamites, Elamites, Hebrew Israelites, the ancient Egyptians, the Philistine, the ancient Nubians, Cushite, the ancient Canaanites, the Levite people, and the ancient Libyan, who also ruled over Egypt. Unfortunately, we lost our history when we were stolen by, and I always say that, stolen. Unfortunately, we lost our history when we were stolen by European Caucasian, European Jews, and Caucasian Arabs during the slave trade, only to be dumped in countries all over the world, as you will see later in the book. We are a lost people, only know that our forefather was taken from Africa. Taking this into account, Marcus Garvey once said, Marcus Garvey once said, a people without the knowledge of their past history, origin, and culture is like a tree without roots. Mm-mm-mm. And this the stuff that I don't understand. Now, if you was a suppressed people and what happened to you in Germany, I'm talking about the Jays, why did you come and do the same thing that was done to you? Come on, guys, help me to make this make sense. If I'm almost through with this right here. If people do not know the truth of their heritage, then hinder them from achieving the true greatness and the respect they once had. Replace the truth with another version backed by lies to ensure the success of another nation agenda. And the plan is almost foolproof if no one ever questioned anything or spoken up. People are discredited, humiliated, publicly made fun of, blackmailed, fired, threatened with bodily harm, or even mysteriously killed for exposing the truth. Hmm. Many famous, non famous people have paid their price by the hands of Satan, doing for exposing the truth and not going along with the agenda Satan has for the world. Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey, Martin Luther King, Bob Marley, John F. Kennedy, M. Ganhai, Robert F. Kennedy, Abraham Lincoln, Michael Jackson, Tupac Shakur, John Lennon, Princess Diane, Marilyn Monroe, Kurt Cobain, and rappers Pimp C are some to name a few. Everywhere I go, I try to enlighten people about the world we live in as it pertains to different issues. Only some have ears to listen and have an open ear to just hear me out of this book. Listen, ask questions, and decide for yourself how you want to take it and use it. And that's all he's saying. You have to know what to chew and what to spit out. But you can't just sit there and just condemn something without even open. That's why they say our people are destroyed because of lack of knowledge. But you have to realize these people are going to condemn anything because they don't want you to know the truth. But you have the right to decide what you want to hear or what you don't want to hear. And like I say all the time, if it's something that I don't like, I spit it out. But you cannot condemn the whole thing just because we got people that don't want you to know the truth, because they know the truth is going to be the one that's going to set you free. So on that note, guys, you all have a blessed day. Tonight, I will be on your girl Renee channel. We're going to go ahead and talk about Potomac Housewives. So you all enjoy the rest of your day. Peace out.